Hello, and welcome to the Week 10 preview of the KML. I'm your host, Mike Morano. I'm here going to break down all the games for you. We're going to take a look at what happened last week. We're going to talk about what's coming up on this week. It's a very important week for a lot of teams because, we ran some numbers here in the studio, and it turns out that nobody's out of it. I want to make that perfectly clear. I ran actual scenarios for every team, and even the bottom of the barrel teams, even Bill has a shot coming back, and he gets to finish as high as the 5th seed. So, a lot to be determined this week. Everybody's in charge of their own destinies. Without further ado, let's move right on into game number 1. Hit it! Game number 1. We're going to talk about the Revenge of the Scurv 4 and 5, sitting there in 5th place, going up against the return of the Sharknado, also 4 and 5, but in 7th place. This is something very interesting in the standings right now. We have 4 teams, and all have 4 wins, ranging from 5th place to 8th place. Now, you do the math, but that means there's 2 people that are in, and that means there's 2 people that are out. So, there's a lot to be determined there. It's really interesting, and these next 1 week and 2 weeks are going to be very, very important for both these teams. Right now, the line on this one is going to end up being the Scurv right around 7 points because he doesn't have the kicker in there yet, but all-time record actually favors Rob 2-1. First off, both these teams are coming off losses, not great losses, to be honest with you. He lost to the shitty team that is Scott's team. It's not very good. He was looking for a win there, but he got caught on a bye week, so a little bit understandable for that loss. As for Rob, same deal, lost to a shit Moto team. Again, he really needed the win there. Thought he'd be able to pull it out, but just couldn't get it done. Failed again, just like he fails in life most times. As for the bye weeks, there's really not a lot here. We got Vinatieri on bye for Mana, which I'm sure he'll find somebody to play kicker for him and pick up a couple more points there. For Rob, he's got Gore on bye, so it's an RB1. It's an RB1 that he's missing there, so that's got to play into it just a little bit. The interesting thing about this matchup is it's really going to come down to what are you going to get out of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Is he right? Is Big Ben right? Is Le'Veon Bell right? You can't tell with these guys. I don't know what to expect. I think he gets a little bit healthier this week, and I think he plays a little bit better. We're not going to find out really what happens in this one for a while because Mana's got a shitload of people late. Like, all of his team, except for like 1 or 2 guys, goes early. So he's got 2 on Sunday Night Football, 2 on Monday Night Football. It's going to be Rob getting out to a lead, and then Mana trying to pull it back in and rein him back in those last 2 games. We'll see if he can get it done. I'm not really sure. It's really kind of the case where I feel like Mana has better players, but worse matchups, and Rob has worse players, but better matchups. So it's kind of interesting to see what's going to go on there. I think for my pick, I'm actually going to take Mana in this one. I kind of like the idea of him having all those late players, and I think I like his players a little bit better than Rob's. So I'm going to take Mana in this one, pulling out the victory, getting to 5 wins on that. Ain't nothing but a gangsta party. Next game. The next game on our docket that we're going after is the 4 and 5 Buddy Van Doodle sitting there in 8th place, one of those 4 wins teams I just mentioned, going up against Vit's squad, 3 and 6, 10th place. A team that started the game on Keg Watch, looked like he might get off there for a little bit, but he just, ever since then, just hasn't been doing that well. A lot of guys underperforming on that team. We're going to talk about that as well. I got a couple things to talk about with Vit's team. First off, Vit's heavily favored in this one. He's a double-digit favorite, right around 10 points on there. Wingus does hold the all-time record, though, 3-1. So this one could be more of the same historically for Wingus. That's what he's hoping to bring into. Again, both these teams coming off bad losses last week. You had Joel dead to rights. He had his entire bench. He had every single running back on his team was on bye. Wingus couldn't get the win there. Barely put up 60 points. As for Vit, he lost to Maine. That's really no shame in that. That was kind of an expected one, so it would have been a pretty big upset if he was able to pull that off, but couldn't get it done either. The big story here for Wingus is he's got both his QBs on bye. He's got both of them on bye, so he's had to go to the waiver wire, had to go to the bottom of the barrel. He's starting Carson Wentz, which that's not a phrase you ever want to say when you're getting into a must-win game here late in the year, but he's starting Carson Wentz. And as for Vitaly, he's got T.Y. on bye, which is a bit of a hit, but T.Y. hasn't been himself lately, so I don't know if that's really going to affect his team all that much, but when you don't have much on your team like Vit does, it's going to be kind of an interesting matchup here because you got, on one hand, you got Wingus' team, who's got a bunch of guys who just flat out aren't that good, and then on Vitaly's team, you have a bunch of star power that's underperforming. So it's like, do you go with the stars who are underperforming, or do you go with the guys who could pop off but are pretty much playing to their potential? So it's a tough decision here, and what I think I'm going to do, the really important matchup with this one is going to be Thursday Night Football, because it's the Cleveland Browns versus Baltimore Ravens. Wingus has both the starting running backs and a defense or a kicker or something in there. He's got to get out to a lead early. So if he can build a pretty nice little lead from that Thursday Night Football game, I think he has a shot, and that's why I'm actually going to pick him, because I know Vit's heavily favored. I know Vit probably has the better team, but I think Wingus' team has played so bad the last 5 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it's been. Law of averages dictates that some week he's got to pop off, go for 3 touchdowns with a couple guys, really get a good week where he gets 3 or 4 guys that have a good week, double-digit scoring and everything. I think this is the week he gets it done. I think he wins, gets to 5-5, and sets himself up very nicely for the final playoff push. With that said, hit him up to game number 3. The next game we're going to talk about is quite honestly the game that I thought might be Kegwatch's game, because both these teams are not only trash, but their owners are trash too. This is, of course, Bubblegum by the bum at 4-5, sitting there in 6th place, the last man in playoffs right now. That will not last. Going up against J-Rod the Bob Limbach, 2-7, 11th place. That will last. Now, the line on this one has Bubblegum favored by about double digits, right around 10 points there. All-time record. Also has Moto favored, 1-0. Now, this lover's quarrel of a matchup is going to be very interesting. Teams heading in different directions. Moto thinks he's got a little bit of a streak going. He beat Rob last week. Feeling pretty good about himself. And then on the opposite end of the road, J-Rod there got another loss. He lost to the Reader, but the Reader's got a great team, so it's not a huge surprise there. That's kind of a loss you expected to take. As far as the buys go, you got Murray on bye for Moto. That's a little bit of a hit, but he's been hit or miss this year. And as for Jared, he's full strength, so he's not missing anybody. He's looking pretty good for this matchup. The biggest thing with Moto's team is, first off, I hate it, and I don't like him. But he's got Peyton Barber on there, and Peyton Barber might be an absolute dud. Literally might get 5 carries for -2 yards. It's totally the wrong possibility. So he's actually starting him in his flex. I hate that move. As for J-Rod, I love J-Rod's team. I love Marshall. I love Antonio Brown. I love Allen Robinson, and I fully expect 2 of those 3 men to be on my team by Sunday. But we'll talk about that later. Going into the pick, this is going to be pretty interesting because it's going to be a big night on Monday Night Football for Moto, because he's got Christian Michael there. He's got A.J. Green there. That's a good head-to-head matchup. That pretty much means he can be scoring points on any play that isn't a special teams play. I always like that when you got just an opportunity for points on every single play there. All that said, though, I'm picking J-Rod because I really want J-Rod to win this matchup. I'm going to be pulling for him. I'm going to be rooting for him. I'm going to have my J-Rod colors on. I'm not sure what that color would be. It's probably some sort of pink salmon pastel or something, like a frat boy would wear. So I'll be getting those shirts out for sure and rooting for J-Rod on that one. I think he takes it. Lock that one in. Let's get on to the next game while sipping a little gin and juice. The 4th game we're going to talk about is the Reading Dwayne Bows 6-3, 4th place, a powerhouse of a team going up against She Duked on Mike Johnson, 8-1, sitting in 1st place, a complete sham of a team. The line on this one has the Reader actually favored, as he should be, about 5 points. Joel leads this all-time matchup. Listen up, everybody. Joel leads this all-time matchup, 3 wins to 0, undefeated. The Rogers, the Reader, has never beat him before. But is this the week? Let's talk about it and find out. Both these teams coming off wins. We got Rogers. The Reader. He ended up beating J-Rod last week. Had his bye week. Felt good about that. She duked on my Johnson. Joel, he got he thought he was going to get a good game out of Wingus. Was pretty worried about his bye weeks. Turned out had nothing to worry about. Wingus put up 50 points. Got an easy win there. Now, the bye weeks only hit Joel. Reader, full strength, no problems there. Everybody's good to go, all locked. Everybody's healthy. As for Joel, he's got Andrew Luck on a bye. That is a problem because he has hitched his wagon to Andrew Luck, and in his place, he's going to start Trevor Siemian. At this point, we think that could change because I don't think anybody wants to start Trevor Siemian, but we'll see what happens. And for that reason, I am going to take Joel in this matchup, even though Rogers has the nice running back tandem of Mark Ingram and Zeke Elliott. It looks very good on paper. However, I think the key comes down to the fact that Breeze and Ingram traveled to Denver, and I think that's just going to be a real hard matchup for them. I don't think they're going to live up to potential. I don't think they hit for their projections. I think Denver keeps them in check a little bit. And when I say in check, I mean for New Orleans levels. That could mean only 20 points instead of 35, but still in check. And I think Joel pulls this win out. I think that Denver game's just going to be rough for them. And also, Joel's going to get a ton of points early. I think he's got one guy going at 4. Everybody else goes at 1. So in this matchup, I'm picking Joel to win. With that said, I got a story to tell about the Keg Watch game. It's the Keg Watch game of the week. And I think we all know who's going to be involved in the Keg Watch game of the week. And of course, I'm talking about the Chalupa Batman. 2-7, 12th place, last place. They're going up against the Go Cuz Go, 3-6, 9th place. This is such an important game for both these teams. I hope they understand what's at stake because, like I mentioned in the preview at the very beginning, everybody's still in the hunt. Nobody's been eliminated from playoffs, including these two teams. So this is an absolute must-win for a multitude of reasons. Not only is it the last chance for either one of these teams to get into playoffs and get on their winning streak that they need to get to playoffs, it's also could be a very important tiebreaker for Keg Watch if both these teams finish at the bottom of the league. This is a big game. This was almost game of the week, surprisingly. However, it's the Keg Watch game of the week. Take a look at the game. We got Scott, -6 points. He is favored over Bill in this one. However, Bill has never lost to Scott. 3-0 lifetime in the league. That could play a part psychologically for Scott's team. Both these teams, I shouldn't say both of them, one of them coming off a loss. Bill lost to Turo. Thought he might be able to get a win there. He wasn't able to pull it out. Scott ended up getting a win over Minot, unexpected win, but he pulled it out, so that was good for him. As for the bye weeks, it hits Bill a little bit harder than it does Scott. He's got Stafford and Riddick on bye. However, I think actually Kaepernick could be a better quarterback than Stafford at this point. It's going to be very interesting to see how Kaepernick does in Arizona against a little bit better defense than what he's seen previously, so that will be something to keep an eye on for. As for the matchup, Bill's going to be done early. The only guy who's got going a little bit late is an afternoon game is again Kaepernick, so he's going to be done by Sunday Night Football. Should have a pretty substantial lead by then. The important thing for Scott, it could come down to Monday Night Football with Giovanni Bernard on Monday Night Football. However, I don't think it gets that far. I think the lead is too insurmountable. I don't think Gio's going to have a good game against the Giants. I am picking Bill in this one for all those reasons, but also for the reason that the Cubs are so last week and now they're just another fucking baseball team and nobody gives a shit anymore. Let's all move on with our lives. With that said, it is time to get to the Gut Dub game of the week. Let's all get hypnotized. Ooh, Lordy! The Gut Dub game of the week is coming at you right now. And that, of course, means a battle to the death between the KBGs, the K-Bo Go 7-2, second place, going against the, this is my white mare, not Revenge or Return Anything. It is just straight up, this is my white mare, also 7-2, third place. This is a big game. And the reason this is a big game is not only because of the two teams involved in it, not only because of the records of the two teams involved in it, but because this matchup very well could dictate who gets that first round bye moving into the playoffs, because whoever wins this will hold the tiebreaker over the other, obviously, and if there is a tie for that second and third place, like there is currently, that would be very important to hold that tiebreaker to get that second bye, since Joel all but has the first bye locked the fuck up. Alright, looking into this one, KBG is a big favorite over double digits in this one. Also own the all-time record 3-1 over the Turos of various names. Looking at how these two teams have been doing, they both came off big wins. We had the KBGs had a pretty bad bye week last week, but they were able to pull out a victory over Vitali. That was a good win for them. The This Is My White Mare was able to beat Bill. So that was a good win for them as well. Looking at the bye weeks, they're actually kind of even for different reasons. You got the KBGs on one hand, that they got LaShawn McCoy Shady, he's on bye. But On the other hand, this is my white mare, has all his good receivers on bye pretty much. He's got Moncrief on bye, Cooper on bye. He's also got, who's the third one he's got on bye? He's got Golden Tate, who actually has been showing up a little bit. He's on bye too. I don't know if he'd actually play Golden Tate, but he played Cooper and Moncrief for sure, mainly because he's a homer. But he definitely played Cooper and Moncrief in that wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 spot. So he's got a little bit of a problem there. I think this is going to be a really interesting one because I think there's going to be a lot of matchups that are over, but this matchup is going to be going strong into Sunday Night Football and into Monday Night Football. You got the Sunday Night Football game is New England and Seattle. You got a mad-ass Brady on one side going against that Seattle defense, and then the other side you got a rejuvenated Jimmy Graham with Doug Baldwin, who hasn't done much, but he's still there. Russell Wilson might look like he's good, so those two guys get automatically better. And then on Monday Night Football, you got the Giants, where you got a couple players. You got Odell Beckham and you got Rashad Jennings for the KBGs. And then on the Turo side, he's got who's he got from Cincinnati? Giovanni Bernard. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. Oh, he's got Jeremy Hill. Yeah, he's got Jeremy Hill. Anyway, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here because all these players, I think it's combined like 8 players going between Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football. It's going to be really interesting. A lot of point swings, a lot of things going on there. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that to see who wins. As for my pick, I am picking KBGs because I think they are able to sustain the good winning streak. I think it's just too much going on right now. And most importantly, David Johnson gets to go to San Francisco. And when David Johnson goes to San Francisco, it's like goddamn Mike Tyson fighting preschoolers. It's going to get ugly. It could be a huge day for him. The only thing that could derail the KBGs in that matchup for David Johnson would be if San Francisco can't keep it close and David Johnson's pulled at the halftime. So, all that said, KBG is locking it in. Hey, I want everybody to know, it's been a great 9 weeks. And I want to have another couple good 4 weeks into the regular season because everybody's still got a shot. It's going to be a lot of fun games. It's going to be a lot of interesting stuff going on. I might start running some scenarios next week, see where things are starting to shake out, what has to happen for different teams to make playoffs. We'll get into that a little bit more, but thanks for tuning in again for your KBG preview or your KML preview. Stay safe out there. Let's all enjoy President-elect Trump, I guess, and have a good weeks. Everybody, set your lineups, have good weeks, make a couple trades, don't talk to Jared, and let's all try to get that W out there, and I'll be back here next week giving you all the highlights. So, with that said, have a good night, and put them up. Black Lives Matter.